one day, the market will fall and it'll keep falling. When it does, everyone will ask for a bailout because that's what they always do, and they'll get it. At a future day, the market will fall and keep falling, and they'll ask for a bailout, and they won't get it. And then God help us. Well, God help them at least. At the moment, though, we're in neither of those situations. The market goes down maybe a couple of hours, and then it's bid right back up. Here's the spider. We are near lifetime highs. We have been hanging out in this vicinity for weeks now. We have pierced for a little bit below that breakout level, but we're above it again. So yeah, Atlas continues to do his work, keeping things up. The diamonds, in this instance, we are kind of getting into sort of two halves in this range. So we've been in this range almost the whole year. Reached lifetime highs. We got over that $40,000 big round number, and we've sunk well below it. And now we're kind of in the lower half of this range for the diamonds. A bit of a mess right now. That's where we're hammered down. And there's not any particular important data point coming out until Friday morning when we get the jobs report. And they'll go through the usual shtick of like, this jobs report means that interest rate's going to go down, which means that stocks really should be at 90,000 on the Dow. That's why this just seems to be kind of grinding right now, really just stuck. Let's talk briefly about semiconductors. The first one, which I've got to put on, is AMD. We're sinking on this about 2.5%. That's good. I've got a hard stop right there, that dashed line. As with just about everything else I got, these are no earlier than September 20 puts, and yeah, so far so good. Because it's important to keep in mind, you know, NVIDIA is the champ of this. So you can have every semiconductor down, and NVIDIA will still be up. When NVIDIA falls, then it's just like showtime. Because if NVIDIA is down 2%, then AMD is going to be down like 7, you know. I noticed also that Intel, as I've said, the recipient of a tremendous amount of tens of billions of dollars largesse from the government, as sort of a fallen angel, really hasn't been a relevant semiconductor company for a quarter century now. But Intel pre-market had some news about some new thing they're doing to go head-to-head with NVIDIA, and there was some excitement. And you'll see headlines everywhere. NVIDIA surging today. They're down again. They just can't keep it up. They cannot keep it up, no matter what they announce. But I need this. This is AMD, and it's down, and that's a good thing. SMH is down a skosh, 0.75%. It is still above this breakout level here. As you can see, we've spent 7-8 days just kind of lingering in this lofty zone, like so. It's going to take something big to shake things up. NVIDIA has to break. Until it does, there ain't going to be no semiconductor fall. There ain't going to be no tech fall. That one stock is holding everything up. That's the one, the $3 trillion powerhouse. When it does crack, then everything else can let loose. Until then, the balls are still in the air. The cubes, with that in mind, are green right now, just a little bitty bit. You can see right up here, we spent weeks hanging out in this zone. And, you know, a year from now, you and I can look back and laugh at what was going on right now. But at the moment, we're not laughing. We're just kind of hanging out here in the ionosphere. We've got a big election, of course, coming up this year, but the United States is not the only country on the planet. There have been some other big elections recently, and they've moved the markets. Between yesterday and today, the results from the India election, which is a country 4 times the size of the US in terms of population, came out. And as you can see, the India stock market is down hard. I don't know if this is the biggest ETF out there. It's the one I found most quickly. INDA, down over 6%. So they're getting smacked. The other one I didn't mention, but it was over the weekend, was Mexico. They elected their new president. I suspect is perceived as rather leftist and not business friendly. And so as you can see, there was a not business friendly plunge yesterday in the EWW, the Mexican ETF. And as your resident chartist, I just wanted to point out this cool little topping pattern that preceded that plunge. I would also say, watch this trend line. Look what's going on here. Okay, so this trend line's anchored to this bottom way back and the COVID crash lows. And this point right here, look at what's going on. Let's zoom in, because today it's up. We are getting a bounce today. Look where we're at. We're exactly at the trend line. We're exactly at resistance. So, could be a fresh opportunity there. So that's EWW. Quick peek at oil, which is down again. And zooming in here, let's just kind of review what's happened in the past couple of years. So we went blasting higher on the USO. We peaked here September 2023, fell hard, and went zipping up again. And I think just about to the penny matched that multi-year high weeks ago, back on April 12. And we fell. And as of here, if we just forget the past couple of weeks, it looks stable. We had fallen back to the base. We're starting to strengthen again. Well, that's history. We got this high, and then red, big red, and then down again today. As I say, on the USO down a bit more than 1%. So oil definitely has completely spoiled its own bullish setup. It's not particularly bearish pattern at all. It's just kind of like range bound now. But it's the froth is definitely off that. I also wanted to make mention, this is a kind of obscure, but a week or so ago I mentioned this rather young stock breaking out, Logistics Properties of the Americas, LPA, really terrific long position here. Not to get too deep in the weeds, but the chart looks really funny now because there's so many strange bars that the program is trying to fix what it thinks are errors. They aren't errors, and I can force it to like just show the raw data like so, and it's a bit more reflective of the move we've had. Some nice action there. I think it's a great setup now. It's quite risky at these levels, but it just shows how following the breakup from a base, which have been here, just a terrific move. Because this went from, this went from like $12 to, I don't know what's going on here, $500. That's not a data error. It's just a crazy move. Really no idea what's going on with that one, but that was a cool breakout. What I wanted to walk through yesterday was my present positions. Let's just thumb through them. One you've seen already, which is AMD. There's an alphabetical order. And as I said, we're falling on that. And to be clear, these are very simple bearish positions. These are just long puts, September, October, even January, I think in one case. All in the money and all with tons of time on them. So AMD, that's the first one. Next one is APA, which is a very nice setup there, right triangle top. And we have breached a multi-year, really, support level there. So that's APA. We've got Comerica, CMA, which is down about 1.5%. The blue trend line here is the key. And so we had a nut top here, big fall, bang, 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 found strong resistance of the trend line, and now we're starting to slip lower toward this important support level. Told you we were showing unfiltered data here. This is Caesars, and I talked about this a couple of days ago with respect to Carl Icahn. I'm still in this. We're down a touch on this. Beautiful reversal pattern on this, but a very tight top. IBM, this is one of the few that's actually a little bit green today, but this is actually my best performer because I got it when it was cheap on the puts. But on this one, stop loss is at this dashed line like so. KeyCore, also down about 2%. Not too surprising that these banks are showing some weakness. This is based also on a broken trend line. It tends to be a slow mover, but it is starting to move now. And let's add one more support level there. Let's just draw a line right like, bang, like so. I think that would be an important new level, which if breached, which I think is altogether likely, would set things in motion stronger to the downside. Meta, the perpetually frustrating Meta, it has spent weeks just in this tiny little range. Gap is the stop on this one. And while I'm thinking of it, I don't have a position in Tesla, haven't in a long time, but you talk about something that's stuck. I tweeted today that if somebody asks you, hey, what's Tesla? I just say 175. You're probably right. It has been stuck there forever. Tesla volatility is probably approaching zero. Starbucks, this is a new one. I might be a little early, but I'm not sure. But I went into this today. You can see this beautiful top here. It might hack its way higher. It might get up to this red dashed line, in which case I am too early. I'm gonna go a bit on a limb here and suggest maybe this is the limit for now. Maybe this is as high as it'll get. We're gonna see. But we had a tremendous gap down here. It's been fighting its way back. And the question is, how high will it continue healing? Say it a third time, maybe I'm early, but I'm not very patient. So I got into that one. Here's another new one, TLT. This is, to be very clear, this is the only exception to my, no earlier than September. This is actually rather short dated. This is June 21st or whatever the date is, so several weeks out. And my stop on this one is this dashed line like so. But I like the symmetric triangle. I like where it's bounced to. And the last one of these, our old friend XLU, well, I shouldn't call it a friend anymore. It's been very frustrating, but XLU, hard stop right up here. And this is also a September.